Lesson 11-2, Making Circle Graphs. In this lesson, you'll learn to make a circle graph to illustrate data. And why is it important? Because newspapers often use circle graphs to show results in an opinion survey. So let's take a look at this real-world application in weather. Have you ever been caught in a thunderstorm and wondered where the safest place to be is? The chart at the right indicates where lightning strikes most often. The circle graph can be used to display this data. What angles would you use for each section? So if we look at this one, okay, according to the National Weather Service, 28%, okay, lightning strikes and fields ballparks 28% of the time. Okay, under trees 17%, bodies of water 13%, near heavy equipment 6%, golf courses 4%, telephone poles 1%, and others unknown at 31%. Okay, so we will use a circle graph to display this data. Okay, and we want to find out the angles that we would use for each section of the data. Okay, so what we do with this information is that we first define what a circle graph is. So a circle graph is used to compare parts of a whole in a way that helps you visualize the information. Again, it compares parts of a whole. Okay, so as you know, there are 360 degrees in a circle. So you can multiply to find the number of degrees in each section of the circle part. Okay, so what does that mean? So if we want to find the angle for fields and ballparks, how big we want to create that in our circle graph, which is 28%. We want to find out how big the angle is. We need to find out what is 28% of 360. So fields and ballparks, we get 28%. We're now using a calculator times 360. These indicate buttons on your calculator. So 28% times 360 will give you 100.8. Under trees, 17% times 360 give you 61.2. Bodies of water, same procedure, 13% times 360, and that's going to be your answer. Okay, near heavy equipment, 21.6. Golf courses, 14.4. Telephone poles, 3.6. And other unknowns, 111.6. And these number indicate degrees. Okay, so these number indicates degrees. This is probably approximately 101 degrees for field and ballparks, 61 degrees, 47 degrees, and so on and so forth, all the way to down to others unknown, which is 100 approximately, about 112 degrees. And if you want to get these, okay, if you want to express all of these in a circle graph, this is what's going to look like. So where lightning strikes, okay, others unknown, 31 degrees, and this angle right here is actually 31 degrees is actually 100, around 112 degrees. Fields and ballparks, 28% is actually 101 approximately degrees, that angle right there, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the question is, how do we create a circle graph such as this one if we have our degrees? And that's what we will be doing in the next example. So in this example, to be President of the United States, an individual must be at least 35 years old. Make a circle graph to display the data on presidents' ages at their first inauguration shown at the right. So this is our table right here, president's age on inauguration day, age interval 35 to 43 years old. The number of presidents will be 2, 44 to 52-year-old. Age interval 14, 53 to 61. Age interval is 19, 62 to 70. Age interval is 6. So we want to create a circle graph using this table. Okay, so let's find out how to do this. First and foremost, you know the number of presidents in each age interval. That's what we know. So in order to create our circle graph, this is how we plan to do it. First, we find the total number of presidents, okay? And then find the ratio of the number of each interval to the total. And then find the number of degrees for each interval. Finally, draw your graph. So there are 3 steps. Okay, first step, okay, find the total number of presidents. Okay, in our case, if we add them all up, that'll be 41. Okay, 2 plus 14 plus 19 plus 6 is 41. And then second step, find the ratio of the number of in each interval to the total. And then the third step, find the number of, actually there are 4 steps. The third step would be find the number of degrees for each interval. And the fourth step is draw your circle graph. Okay, so let's take a look at this one by one. Now, if you notice in the previous example, the percent is known already, so we already know the ratio. Okay, so we, in the previous example, in terms of where lightning strikes, we already know the ratio, so we already proceeded with. We know step number 2. So what we just needed to know was, okay, number of degrees, step number 3, and then we just have to draw the circle graph. Okay, so in this particular example, we need to go through step 1 and step 2, okay, before we go to find the total number of degrees and finally drawing our circle graph. So let's take a look at our first step. Total number of presidents would be 41. We discussed that. And step number 2, we want to find the ratio that compares each number to the interval to the total. That means you will get the number for each interval, okay, and find the ratio to the total. So this is 2 over 41, 14 over 41, 19 over 41, and 6 over 41. Okay, so this is exactly what happened here. We got 35 to 43 is 2. 2 over 41 is the same as 2 divided by 41. You get a decimal. Same thing with interval, 44 to 52. 53 to 61, and 62 to 70. We divide all numbers by 41. We get a decimal from there. Okay, so after getting the decimal, we go to step number 3. In step number 3, we simply multiply to find the number of degrees for each section of the graph, round to the nearest degree. In the previous example, it was already in percent. Okay, so that means that percent you need to convert into decimal if you don't know how to press the percent button in the calculator. Okay, but if it's already in decimal, you don't have to convert it into a percent. Okay, because all you need to do is get that number and multiply that by 360. So for interval 35 to 43 right here, we multiply that number with 360. It's roughly 18 degrees. 44 to 52, we multiply that number with 360, 123 degrees, and we do the rest for the other 2 intervals. And these are your degrees, 18 degrees, 123 degrees, and 50 degrees. And now, let's draw our circle graph. And in drawing our circle graph, okay, it's you need to organize it first. And first and foremost, you need to draw the circle. Okay, so draw the circle. You have a compass. Create a circle using your compass. And then you need to start with the least number of degrees. In this case, 18 degrees. So after drawing your circle, okay, you draw a line first right here. Right there. Okay. After drawing, after drawing a segment, not a line, my bad. So after drawing that segment from the center to that side, you measure 18 degrees because that's the least number right here. 18 degrees, so this should be around 18 degrees. And after that, use a protractor to draw an angle of 18 degrees. That's what we did there. Okay, repeat the remaining sections, label each section, and give the graph a title. So from there, okay, you get your protractor and create the next angle, which is 53 degrees. Using that segment as as one side of your angle to draw your 53-degree angle. Basically, this is what happens right here. Let me get my, it's going to be up here. Nope, it's not. It is going to be up there, right there, and we're going to bring it down. Okay, so after you create, okay, remember this is 18 degrees. That's our center right there. See, it's close enough to 18 degrees. And then from there, get your protractor, move your angle this way, and find 53 degrees from the zero. And the zero of this one, let me make it bigger because I cannot see for the life of me. So 53 degrees is right here. I'm going to put the point. I'm going to make it far, but it'll still work. 53 degrees is right. Is that 55? There you go. 53 right there. And after that, all you need to do is connect that to the center of your, okay, right there. And then I connect it there. Using a straight edge, I'm supposed to connect that line all the way to that line. Okay, so this is roughly 53 degrees. And do the same thing for the other ones until you end up with your biggest angle, which is 167 degrees. And that's exactly what happened here. So this is your 18 degrees, 57 degrees, 137 degrees, and 167 degrees. Okay, so add the degree measures to check if your answer makes sense or not. And if we add them all up, it's 361 with rounding. This is a reasonable answer. So this is how you create your circle graph. Okay, and a secret word for this particular lesson would be Blake. Secret word is Blake. Thank you for watching.